Alrighty, Joshua. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Just wanted to get this video out to you just to kind of compare your swing to a guy who's in the major leagues. His name is Bryce Harper, one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball. But I wanted to kind of get your swing compared to his and just kind of talk about the differences in your swing versus his and kind of what our next steps are going forward with our hitting. So from there, let's go through it. Okay, so very first thing that we talked about in very first lesson, I want you to take a look real quick at your bottom half, right? Take a look at yours versus Harper's, right? So if you take a look at Bryce Harper's real quick, right, you're going to notice that his feet are in line, they're squared up with each other, and they have a really, really good, powerful base, right? But if we take a look at yours real quick, I want you to take a look at your base, right? And you see that you have 1 foot out, 1 foot in. The whole reason we don't want to do that, Joshua, is that it doesn't allow for us to have a really, really strong base, right? If you were to try to jump up, right, we want a strong square base, right? It's the same thing with hitting as well, where we want that strong base that we're able to explode through our swing, right? Additionally, take a look at the starting point of your back leg right here versus Bryce Harper's, right? If you notice, Bryce Harper has that 45-degree angle that we were talking about in our lesson, right? What he doesn't do with his swing is he doesn't start back, right? You're going to notice he gets into it, but I want you to take a look. If I draw a line right here, watch. He doesn't go back over that line. He just loads into this knee. Again, his knee is still in this 45-degree angle, but he's not going back over that knee. He is just simply building into that knee, right? Versus if we take a look into our knee, take a look at this. If I were to draw a line right here, watch this. We go way back over this knee, right? And if you take a look overall, right, this is a really, really awkward position for us to hit, right? We almost have to go 3 steps back to go 1 step forward, right? And in terms of efficiency with our swing, that doesn't necessarily make sense for us, right? And that's kind of what we were talking about in our swing. So I wanted to kind of show you this just so you could even see, if guys in the big leagues are doing this, that's the same thing of kind of why we should also be doing it, right? Because if the guys that are, in the major leagues, they're doing this and they're finding success with that, we should also try to replicate that success as well, right? So that's the big thing too, okay? I also want to talk about his finish, right? When we get to right here, all right? Take a look at his finish, right? If you notice, our finish is really, really heavy in our front leg, right? Versus take a look at his, right? Now, Harper is a little bit of an interesting case because Harper is extremely explosive in his swing, right? But you notice right here, his swing through right down the middle. Our swing is very much on our front side, right? So we want to make sure, and this is what we're talking about in our last lesson, that we want everything to finish right down the middle, right? We want to almost look like we're in this letter A position, right? We want a good evened up A, right? When you draw the letter A, it's not that one side's a little bit higher than the other one. It's that both sides are equal together, okay? So those are the big things there. And if you take a look at his backside, I really, really, really want to talk about his backside, okay? Take a look at it. If you notice, he's really, really aggressive, but take a look. He doesn't roll that ankle over, and he also doesn't necessarily pick it up. If you notice, with our back leg and our back foot, we get here, and then we're not really strong in that back foot, right? So there's a lot of power that's missing in that back foot, right? So those are a couple things with the bottom half. I just want to start with the bottom half and then go to the top. I want you to take a look at your swing versus Bryce Harper's top half, right? If we notice, Bryce Harper loads and goes directly to the baseball versus for ours, it is that we're chopping down to the baseball, right? So the question is, how does Bryce Harper get to that position, right? Because for our top half, it's actually fine that we start with our hands where they are. I'd like to start a little bit higher, which we talked about last time. But if you notice, take a look at what his elbow does. So he gets here, and immediately he takes his elbow into his rib cage right there. Versus with us, Joshua, what we do is we throw all of our hand directly at the ball, right? Which takes it immediately to the only thing that can happen with this baseball is exactly what happened to the swing, where it goes completely down, right? Because we're chopping down at the baseball, right? If you also notice with his hips and his shoulders, right? His hips and his shoulders are pointed towards right center field in this, but ours are wide open, right? So even before I make contact, right now my hips and my shoulders are turning open, right? Versus his are still closed off before he even makes contact with the baseball, right? So those are a couple things about our swings that we're going to continue to work on. But the particular thing that I want to work on is connection to extension, as I'm going to call it, right? So we take this back elbow here, we connect it into our rib cage, and from there, once we get to this point, then we extend out to the baseball to make contact, okay? Instead of going here and immediately trying to chop down the baseball and take our entire hands at the baseball, right? Because that doesn't allow for us to have a powerful swing. All it does is it kind of takes a choppy swing at the ball, and we don't really get great contact, right? And our goal is to try to get line drive hits, okay? So those are a couple things just about our swing that we're going to continue to work on in these lessons. But I just want to get this video out to you just so you can kind of see your swing in comparison to a guy in the big leagues, kind of the differences between y'all swing and kind of what our game plan is with going forward. So keep up the good work, and we'll talk next time.